Oh, Tesla stock, $400 a share by Christmas. Crazy or easy or both? I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla Weekend. Joined today by the amazing best-selling author Randy Kirk, author of the Elon Musk Mission, the Elon Musk Method, and soon perhaps the Elon Musk Madness. I hope not. I hope not. How are you, Randy?
I'm doing extremely well, even though, of course, I'm no longer in my little grass shack. But I'm trying to, keep the spirit alive by wearing this retro Hawaiian shirt. What do you think?
I think it's clever the way you're trying to convince people that you didn't live in a grass shack up until very recently. And congratulations on your success moving out of the shack. But honestly, in Southern California, you know what the rent is on a grass shack?
Yes.
Yeah, it's about 1,800, but only if you have a roommate.
Right.
So there are some reasons. Oh, who is this asks? So selling out at $100 a share was a bad idea?
Maybe.
There are people who did that.
I know.
There are people who buy high and sell low is one strategy. It is not recommended. So there's some reasons it could go to 400 or beyond by the end of the year. Let's start with one. What do you got?
Oh, you actually want me to have those answers?
Oh yeah,
Oh, I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna feed me some, more information than that. Okay, so the number one reason would be at this point, it's all about execution. Okay, the street is starting to get Tesla, but they don't quite believe it. It's like, oh, you guys have been doing really, really well at executing eventually, but not always when you said you were going to. And you've been doing that for a very, very long time. And you've got all these plans, and they look like they could be absolutely mind-bending. But are you going to be able to execute, and when? And we want to see some more evidence that you can execute. So what are we looking for in terms of execution? Well, the first thing would be second quarter numbers in a week. From the time people are looking at this, it'll probably be a week. This July 2nd, we're going to get some numbers. If they are over 460, that will be execution.
Now let's talk about the numbers real quick. I've seen some numbers that were surprisingly low from people I considered credible, and the analysts coming in with numbers that aren't crazy. Do you think any of the factories will come in lower than they did in Q1?
No.
I don't see it either. Mm-hmm.
So therefore, the 440 number, 435, whatever, that number should be in the bag. It shouldn't, I think there'll be less inventory, so the sales should be higher, just by virtue of fact of lowering inventory. But I also think that Austin and Berlin have to have increased numbers over first.
They have to.
They
have to.
Not a choice.
And one thing you and I talked about before the show was if you look at the footage from this week, from today or yesterday, from Berlin, you'll see that the loading lot that they use at the far northeast is smaller than it was and slightly less busy than it was. But oh wait, there's a whole second loading lot now next to the Motorworks building by the new transit station. So they've got, it looks like they're shipping out significantly more and that they're going to need to expand their loading area to handle it.
Yeah, so that comes down to, okay, that would be execution number one. What are the numbers for the second quarter? Now, just continue that on out. We need to see the execution in the third quarter too. If we're going to hit 400 for Christmas, that means hitting the numbers on the second quarter, hitting the numbers on the third quarter in such a way that the street is convinced, and then also hitting those numbers with regard to margins. If the margins are staying under 20%, that is not going to be happy day. I don't see how that's going to happen. Same kind of analysis you just did. We know commodity prices are going down. We know battery prices are going down. We know that the Model Y is becoming a larger and larger percentage of the total sales, so that's going to increase margins as well as selling cost. We know that the ramps at Berlin and Austin are moving along, which is going to lower the cost in both factories. So the margins have to increase. I'm saying anything over 20% in the second quarter is a win. Anything over 21% in the third quarter is a win. And that should be enough execution to get us, oh, and average selling price of anything over 45.
I think over 45 is quite doable.
Yeah.
In the comments, I did want to address, I have adjusted Randy's audio level. Let me know if it's better. And Roger pointed out that, yeah, but your shirt is louder to compensate. So, I mean, that's got to count for something, right?
It's retro. It's retro, man. This is, my wife picked this out because this is like maybe the original Hawaiian shirt that the Aboriginals wore when Cook first arrived.
Interesting. I did not know any part of that story. So in terms
I
of...
made it up, so there you go.
Okay. That makes more sense. In terms of execution on production, I see no reason why the factories can't continue to ramp. I did see a big Tesla Q on Twitter saying that no, it's these factories have not been ramping because the last announcement we heard was all the way back in February. And I'm thinking, right, but that just because they didn't tell you what's going on doesn't mean nothing's going on. And I guess I could try and talk with some parts suppliers and see if the numbers have changed appreciably.
There you go.
But that's kind of a big ask. They would have to dig a little deeper than they're probably comfortable doing.
That could be. That could be.
That
But
could
I
be.
did. I did do a whole video last week where I admitted lowering my expectations for the second quarter, and saying that it looks like Tesla has their foot on the brake just a bit, or possibly they've just removed their foot from the accelerator a little bit, which has the same effect, and in a Tesla at least, and on a golf cart. So there is this at least possibility that they're not going full out pedal to the metal in the ramps because of the economy, because selling 600,000 new Model Ys over and above the numbers from last year in 1 year, that's a big get.
Oh, for sure.
People, are worried about the demand. No, it's not about the demand. The question is there enough demand to suck up 600,000 additional Model Ys? There are very few cars in the world that sell 600,000 ever.
If you look at the Ford Explorer, they only sell about 300,000 of those, and it's a best-selling vehicle. The Ford Mustang is about 50,000 a year. That's less than 1,000 a week. If Tesla made a car that only sold 1,000 a week, we would maybe not you and I, but the Tesla Q crowd would definitely be calling it the biggest loser
Ever.
And and with the S and X, the numbers are quite low, but they're not 50,000 a year low. That's bananas. So they, yeah.
So anyway, I lowered my number. I lowered my number from 490, which I did my number for quite a while, to 460. I think I still expect a beat on the 460 number, but I wouldn't be unhappy if it was 460 or even 455. But under 455, I would be unhappy. The street would be very unhappy if it's under 440. I think that's an impossibility.
I'm still sharpening my numbers and have yet to share them, but I would be surprised if it's under 440. That seems too low. In terms of factories that could actually miss, not grow quarter over quarter, it's possible that Shanghai output is down slightly because they're retooling for the Model 3 refresh, and the same is true of Fremont. It could be down slightly, but I don't think those numbers compare remotely to the ongoing ramps in Texas and Berlin.
But we have 2 months of Shanghai in the books. We know they did 77 in the first quarter and the second quarter, so it's going to be pretty hard for them to have any significant miss unless it's really, and we already have the retail numbers from the insurance guys, and it looks like they're still shooting out about the same numbers. Anyway, and I don't think Troy Teslike is suggesting that Shanghai will miss. I think he's showing that Shanghai's doing okay.
only looked briefly at his numbers, and they didn't make sense to me. His methodology is very different than mine, and yeah, he. I offered to have him on the channel as a guest, and he. I don't think he does interviews.
No.
And I offered also to share my secret sauce with him, and he did not. He was not interested.
Yeah.
So I think he's got his spreadsheet dialed in a way that he's comfortable with. So yeah. Roger says that Wuhua in China is currently banned from drone flights. Something is afoot. He's not banned. Everyone's banned. They've got in China apparently drone jammers are completely legal, and they are employing one over Giga Shanghai, which tells us there are Highlands in the yard. Surely, because there's nothing else it could be. There's literally nothing else it could be.
Sounds right to me, but don't call me Shirley.
Oh, Randy.
I had to.
You had to. I
tried to stop myself. I couldn't.
It's not his fault. I made a genuinely terrible joke on his show that's coming up on Sunday, and it's just payback. It's just what he had to do. In terms of...
Yeah,
okay. So in terms of macro, what kind of macro swing do you think we would need in order to hit 400 by the end of the year?
I think the macro has to stay moving towards more and more towards risk on. What does that mean? I think what that means is something that you can visibly watch is that the market continues to edge up, 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 up. Doesn't mean there won't be down days or down weeks or even down months, but it means that the overall chart going toward the end of the year is generally trending up. It's been announced by Cathie Wood first, and then everybody else came after Cathie that we are in a bull market now. Even though we're in a bull, and the bull now is 9 months old, depending on who's counting, October 15th or 16th or whatever, it could have been the bottom of the bear. So we've been up, going up, straight up ever since then, with little dips, of course. In order for Tesla to hit 400, we do need the macro to stay in good shape. Now, Tesla is no longer following the NASDAQ the last 4 weeks. For 2 years now, Tesla has followed the NASDAQ roughly, but even more so has followed Cathie Wood's risky growth stocks. I actually created the Randy Index, where I showed over and over again that on a day-by-day basis, you could watch the Cathie Wood stocks and you could watch Tesla, and they were following exactly the same pattern all day long. So it was considered a risky growth stock for that period, primarily, I think, because of the Twitter risk and because of the lowering the prices and all the kinds of things we know about. Well, those risks have all gone away, and now Tesla goes on its own steam. On days when the NASDAQ and the Dow have been down, Tesla has been up. Even on days when Cathie Wood's risky growth stocks have been down, Tesla has been up. So right now, Tesla is on its own steam, but overall, you do need a good macro if we're going to hit 400. I don't think you need that great a macro to hit 300, but if you want to go back to all-time highs, you're going to need a good macro.
Well, is there anything that could overcome that macro challenge?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? There's a couple of things.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah. I've got a couple in the chat that are blowing up too. Go ahead.
Well, Elon Musk saying you no longer have to sit in the driver's seat when you drive the car. That would, that would overcome the macro.
400 would look like a joke. If level 4 or 5 comes out by then, baby, it's over.
Yes, another thing that would really impact the macro that would be impossible, impact Tesla, the macro wouldn't matter at all, and it's probably not something that they're listing, is if this is a threefer, Cybertruck comes out on time or early, the third-party reviews are over the top excited, and the ramp is good or great. See, but you need all three. Any one of those three missing, and it'll be a good thing. It'll help us get to 400. I'm counting on a good news to get us to 400 on the Cybertruck. But if all three of those happen, then the macro won't matter anymore because the Cybertruck will become the big story.
Was that all three of the threefer?
If they get none of those three?
Oh, no. I was just making sure that wasn't 3 parts of 1 point and then we were going on to 2 more.
No, that's it. Those are the 3. You have to hit all 3 of those things. On time or early, a good ramp, and good third-party reviews.
Who is this points out, Cybertruck is already years late. It can't be early. That is a fair point, my friend.
That is a fair point.
Yeah. And so what I would be looking at is I could see macro not improving. I could see delivery numbers being so-so and still getting to 400 just on Cybertruck hype.
Maybe.
Because it's going to be the only thing. Every local news station will cover it. The first one they see in town, they're going to stop the guy and say, do you want to be on the evening news? What do you think of your spaceship? Yes, people will hate it. People will love it. But people will talk about it. After that unveiling, everywhere I went, it was the only thing people could talk about because they were talking to me. And I had very strong opinions. But every one of them had seen it, and every one of them had an opinion.
I think there's a good chance that the Cybertruck will be the most photographed object since Marilyn Monroe.
Well, digital cameras didn't exist, but some of those photos are still quite popular.
Very popular, yes.
A neat comment here. Hank says, biggest risk is the Chinese economy, which is already collapsing. This will have a worldwide recession as a result. One of the biggest harbors has no activity for days now. I don't know about the harbors, but if a recession comes, that means lower rates. That means a lot of things shift around. I don't think that a recession would necessarily hurt the stock. What do you think?
Well, okay, so there's recessions and there's recessions. My view on this, on any potential recession, and I have quite a few people that I trust that are also agreeing with me at this point, is that if we're going to have a recession, it's not going to be about China, it's not going to be about Europe, it's going to be about money supply. People have massive amounts of money in their checking accounts. They have massive amount of credit availability. Companies have massive amounts of money on their books, cash and cash equivalents. And investors have more money on the sidelines than at any time in history, and have consistently had more money on the sidelines than any time in history. However, these folks, all the people we just talked about, are also older now. And the older you get, the more risk averse you are.
Absolutely.
So right now the money's all piling into bonds, which is why 10-year bonds are still sitting at 3.7. And until we get that money off the sidelines and into equities, you can't really get the bull to go crazy. And that's what it's going to take. But if there's risk, significant risk, and I don't think that a recession in China will do it unless it's a depression, unless it's really bad, obviously that could hurt. But I do think that the money supply can dry up, and that even though there's all this money out there, it's the momentum, it's the multiplying factor. How fast is it moving in the economy? And if that slows down, and the Fed has a lot of control over that, that is where you can get a really, really, really bad recession. And right now the Fed doesn't seem to care. They don't seem to care about the money supply. That's my big worry.
So what I would say is if the recession gets real bad in China to a degree where it affects the middle class, a lot of the middle class have international real estate holdings.
Yes, they do.
And if they want to start selling those and driving the price down on real estate worldwide, I don't think you'll see too many tears shed for them because they'll have the money they need to do whatever they're doing. But it would take a very deep recession
Yes.
to get to that point.
Yes.
What I'd like to ask is for folks in the comments, tell us, what is the biggest thing you think is going to drive the stock value over the next 3 to 6 months? Because surely there are smarter people here than me. Maybe not you, Randy, but me for sure.
I'm blushing.
So another thing that could drive the stock higher, Model 3 Highland refresh.
Yeah, so you and I had a conversation about this. I don't know whether it's already appeared on my show yet or not, but
It hasn't, because this is live, you
oh,
see.
this is live. That's right. So it'll be on
That's right.
Sunday morning. Sunday morning,
Right.
right? I think it's Sunday morning. So on Sunday morning, you can hear Brian and I go into great depth about the Highland. And I said to Brian, Brian, is there enough business out there for a sedan no matter what? And Brian said, oh, absolutely, if it's the right sedan. And I'm like, okay, what I want this sedan to be, because they've eliminated my favorite car in the world, well, yes, my favorite car in the world outside of Tesla is the Challenger. It's no longer going to be made. They've eliminated the Charger, its big brother. And now, 2 days ago, it was announced that they've eliminated the Chevy Camaro, which for looks standpoint, muscle car wise, is my second favorite. What am I going to replace those three with? Maybe a really hot rod looking Model 3.
And the new one does look a lot more aggressive and sleek. I just like it. I would point out that the Challenger was the last harbor for police cruisers that aren't SUVs. If you want a police sedan, what are you going to get now? What's left?
Yeah.
Imports is the answer, really.
So if the Highland is a great release, if it's a surprise, because I think right now people are just looking at it as a refresh and okay, maybe it'll sell a few more, but maybe it'll be a surprise on the upside. That could be impressive. That can be
For
impressive.
sure.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. So then we've got Roger saying, MegaPacks. How much MegaPack upside do we need to see in the Q2 and 3 reports for the analysts to step back and say, whoa, we underestimated this?
I'm sorry.
Really?
Did I go to
That
sleep?
bad? That
Well,
bad?
The problem is it's not sexy. And it's so hard to get people interested in the MegaPacks because it's a container. It doesn't look interesting. Even when you put a bunch of them out on a field together, it just looks like some construction project. It isn't sexy. There's nothing sexy about it. Yes, the numbers will show up. Yes, it'll drop to the bottom line. Yes, it'll show more operating profit for the company. Yes, it'll show more profit per share, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it is really hard.
Right, but it's hard for retail investors, but for institutional investors, only 44% of the shares outstanding are in the hands of institutional investors, which is very low for a mega cap. If you look at a lot of the big dogs, they're all in the 60 to 65% range, meaning there's an entire half again in institutional money that has yet to get into Tesla that really should.
I don't look at it as a market mover till it's over 10% of the bottom line.
But the bottom line keeps getting so much bigger, so much quicker. I did want to address comments here. Yes, I was incorrect. I was confusing Charger and Challenger. I got them.
Okay.
Is the other one still in production?
No, the Charger and the Challenger are both out of production. Well, I don't know if they've stopped yet, but they've announced that there will no longer be a Charger or a Challenger.
That's
I know,
frustrating.
I know.
That's frustrating. EC says large energy cubes are sexy.
We need to have a talk with him.
Somebody's been playing too much Portal, it sounds like. What if, Hank asked, what if we see an announcement of software licensing? Now, I don't think we're going to see FSD licensing until it's done. Until it's level 4, level 5. But what about autopilot?
Possible. I would see that as being remote. I would see, as you know, I still I'm of the opinion that some guy, some strange being called Optimus could really move the market still this year. Now, the thing that would really move the market will be AI Day 3. And now, first of all, we're supposed to get a 30-minute video in July at the what do you call it? The earnings day. Elon promised a 30-minute Optimus video on earnings day. We'll see if that promise is met. I mean, But a 30-minute video you'd need to be able to show a lot of things that Optimus is doing, and that could move the market. Then you've got another earnings meeting after that in third quarter where theoretically you'd want to show even more. And then you've got AI Day where you have physical robots out on the stage dancing or doing whatever. There's a lot of potential between now and the end of the year for Optimus to be a big deal, even if they don't do what I believe they're going to do, which is have the reveal and start selling them.
I think you're right. So let's talk about, there's surely going to be an AI Day 3 in September. Do you think that could move the stock? What would it take?
We know that AI days haven't moved the stock in the past. At some point, there's going to be a day when the average investor out there watches Optimus do his thing, and they're going to go, that robot is ready to be sold right now. Even if Tesla decides to wait another year to do it in their own plants first, and then to set up a pilot line for 6 months, and then go to a full line, and they won't do it until 2025 or 2026, whatever, however long all that's going to take. If the investor, the one who's looking for the next Tesla, sees that robot doing, 20 different factory functions and doing them well and doing them in a way that can't be complained about in any way, shape, or form, even by a Teslac, there's going to come a day when the stock is going to just rocket based on, I'm not going to miss out on this one.
I hope you're right. Paul says if we saw Optimus working online with humans, that would be a game changer. And I saw another one. Oh, Hank points out it doesn't have to be FSD in the other competitors' vehicles. It could just be a licensing announcement. The Charger network being opened up isn't opening up at all until next year, and widely, universally at least, until the following year. And yet that did seem to result in quite a bit of a run up there. So it was like the Hertz announcement when good old, was that Brett? Came out and said, yeah, Hertz, Tesla, how cool. And the stock immediately ballooned on that news, even though no cars would be delivered for probably a couple months.
Yeah.
And I think they still haven't gotten the full 100,000.
Oh, no, not even, no.
No, I think last I heard they were at 50,000.
Right.
So that was great. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think David's a regular, and I've met him in person, so that's very cool. David said, I don't think Legacy Auto will buy FSD until the world ends. They embarrassingly want to invent it themselves. Yes, Sandy Monroe at Monroe & Associates often talks about NIH, the not invented here syndrome that prevents good ideas from being adopted because they're someone else's. And
yeah, I think in this particular case, long term, actually, I just did a video on this as well. I think long term, which I don't think is out yet, long term, you're not going to be able to overcome Dojo. The other car companies are going to get it, that without something like Dojo at their disposal, they're not going to be able to do FSD in the way that Tesla is, which means in every environment without geofencing and blah, blah, blah. I think they're going to get it. And when they get it, they're not going to have a choice because otherwise they're going to be out of business. It's really, really simple. Yeah.
Right. Real quick, Ryan said, when is the next we're expected to get an Optimus update? Do we have to wait until AI Day? And you had said,
after the earnings call, we're supposed to get a 30-minute video.
So, and you said probably July.
So July 20, whatever that.
Yeah.
Third week on a Wednesday now or Monday? I think they're third Monday.
I don't recall offhand.
I don't. Yeah.
I always look for others to tell me. Deliveries is my Christmas. One question was asked. Slot Kitty wanted to know any concern about cash flow.
Cash flow for who?
Right? Tesla. Right? No, I have no concern for cash flow. I'm seeing it. I think it'll hover around 20 billion despite ramping and building additional factories, despite the outrageous investment in Dojo and the small investment in Optimus and the tooling for the Highland and the tooling for the Cybertruck. This company is a cash printing machine. When good days mean you have a 30% margin and bad days mean you have a 20% margin, that means you're making all the money. And
Yeah,
if you
no,
look at
I think free cash flow will continue to be positive because they've already built in, they've already told us what they're going to spend on CapEx. So basically, no, I would continue to see $2 to $3 billion at least being thrown off each quarter, and probably lots more next year. A lot more than that next year.
Well, if you look at the margins of Legacy Auto, it's only like 5%. And then if you look at how much money they make off parts and service,
Yeah.
are you guys giving away free cars just so you can make money on the parts? Is this
The
the
old laser
HP
theory?
printer model? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's crazy. In terms of catalysts, are there any other big ones we're missing? Let me scroll through the comments.
Well, let's see. Let me think here for a second. There is something else we're not thinking of here. What are we missing? We've got
What
the
are we missing, you guys? Let's scroll up. There was somebody who gave me a good list a minute ago.
maybe the list would help.
So yeah, the Roger said Chargers, MegaPacks, Chargers with MegaPacks, Highland, Dojo, yeah, and yeah. So I just think, yeah, continued execution is going to be the big one.
That's my biggest one.
Yeah.
I think more than any single thing is execution. That I think, okay, you've heard me say it before. Tesla is a story stock. It's all about the narrative. The narrative had holes in it last year. That's what hurt the stock. Now all those holes have been taped together and laser welded and everything else. And now the story is back to being whole again. But now you don't want any new chinks. And the new chinks would come from missing numbers, from missing expectations. So you don't want any new ones. If we can meet expectations going forward in 2023, well, for now on, but I mean, if we're only looking till Christmas, and we all want that Christmas present of being back to all-time highs, then yeah, we're going to need to execute pretty close to flawlessly.
So we got some great suggestions here. Groundbreaking on the new factory.
Yes, I think that's an important expectation that needs to not be missed. I don't think it increases the share price. It's the opposite. That's already in the expectations, and at some point, it's going to be a missed expectation. They're getting dangerously close to that point now. So it's really important that they either make an announcement on all the ones that you and I have discussed in the past, on Reno, on Shanghai. They either start shoveling dirt or they give us some transparency on what is going on and what the new expectation should be. If you don't expect, there's a book that was written years ago that I love so much. It says, expectations ruin relationships. It should have been called missed expectations ruin. But in any case,
that says more about the author, but okay.
Yeah. But the truth is that if you're not going to make your expectations, then be transparent and give us an update as to what we should now be looking for.
So on that same note, before we move on to Jim's wonderful suggestion, don't forget the semi. We'll get there in just a second. Thank you, Jim. Is an announcement of a second factory. I don't think that's priced in because we don't know where it would be.
Well, it's priced in a little bit because he said they would have an announcement before the end of the year. I do believe that Elon continuing to jet set all over the world and talk to all these leaders and plan cage matches and whatnot. All of that is totally positive. He is a master PR expert. He knows how to keep Tesla and Elon Musk in the news. That is all positive. I'm a marketer my whole life. We have two sayings in the marketing business. One is there's no such thing as a bad headline, and number two is just make sure you spell my name right. So PR is worth 10 times advertising, 10 times. That's been proven over and over again. Every time you get a headline that's PR, It has a 10-time effect on your brand identification, on your ability to sell product. So yeah, keep going, Elon.
So on that, I would disagree. I would say if the factory announcement is in India, we could see a whole raft of new Indian money flowing into the stock
Interesting, interesting.
because that country's got quite a few millionaires and billionaires.
Actually,
And I think they would look at it and say, we saw what they did in Shanghai, we saw what they did in difficult countries like Germany. This is going to be big, and I think we could see a new influx. So let's talk about semi. Could it move the stock this year? I think it won't. And I mentioned this on Randy's show in the future on Sunday,
Yes.
Sunday or next week, that last I heard they were making about a semi a day because they haven't expanded the factory yet. And I don't think they're going to because because I think the battery supply is limited. I know he said that it's not, but I think that was in anticipation of the 4680s coming online more quickly than they did, and that 4680 delay is a real kick in the knackers, as it
Yeah,
were.
those are two disappointments right now. Again, I don't think that the market's paying any attention to that because to the semi, because they weren't paying any attention to the semi anyway. So the fact that the semi is going to be late has not hurt the market price because it wasn't in the market price and nobody thought it was ever going to be a big deal.
Yes.
Except for us, us daily watchers, the folks that are very, very interested. So, but on the 4680, that's another one that could eventually disappoint. So I think that's something else to watch out for. I think Tesla, they did come out last week and had their 10 million celebration. I think more transparency. Give us more. Tell us more. Where are we? What should we be thinking about? When do we hit the first 100 gigawatt hours?
And on the semi, I would say that it can't really move the stock until it becomes disruptive. And even if they were producing 5 or 10 a day, I don't think the numbers would be significant enough to be disruptive by the end of this year.
No, not a chance. No,
yeah.
no, definitely. Probably not even by the end of next year. I'm now looking at semi-truck for 2025.
So another possibility is unleashing a new MegaPack factory in a place like China that's already built and we don't know about. So the MegaPack factory in Lathrop, they held a groundbreaking, and I don't know if you saw it, but that building was already built. It was an existing building.
Yes.
They don't need a purpose-built building for the MegaPack factory.
Exactly.
They can just hermit crab into whatever's available. In Shanghai, Tesla, when they built their supercharger factory, they didn't announce it until it was done, which is very unlike them, and I'm glad they did because we need more things like that, where it's not just a promise, it's something that we actually have in our hands. It could very well be that factory is already underway, that it's tooling right now, and that we could find out at the next earnings call, oh, by the way, we launched it a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It's got the same tech as what we had in Lathrop, and it's going to be going gangbusters. That could have an impact, maybe?
I think what it's going to take.
Or is it just not sexy enough?
Well, what I would say that the MegaPack story needs is it needs a champion from the pundit class. So it needs somebody that's on MSNBC, CNBC all the time. It needs somebody that's works for one of the big investment houses. It needs somebody to follow it. It needs somebody to care. Right now, none of them care. All they care about is the cars. They didn't care about the semi. They barely care about AI. They don't really understand or get AI. I have to admit, AI is above my pay grade. So I am spending a lot of my time right now trying to come up to speed on AI so that I can speak quasi-intelligently about it. But the AI story probably is as big as any story out there right now for Tesla. Not just in general, but for Tesla. And right now, it's hard to get. We've had a couple of, I think, Levy or Tom, what's his face, from one of the investment houses the other day. And anyway, there's been a couple of comments made about Tesla and AI, But even that is not getting the kind of coverage compared to the potential for Dojo, not just as a potential Dojo as a service, but also for Dojo in terms of what it's going to do for Robotaxi and FSD and Optimus.
On the AI front, what if what we hear on AI Day is, oh, by the way, because we're not ready to use all this amazing capacity, we're going to be offering this as a service, and we've already got 3 customers lined up.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would help. Yeah,
I think that would help because it plays into the AI hype.
yeah.
I did want to address this. Roger pointed out, Dylan from Electrify just ran a headline, Cybertruck production line running. And that's not quite, I know the video he's talking about.
Oh.
I actually got to see a photograph of that line before that video came out from someone, I don't know. But the video was a lot more revealing than what I saw in the picture because the picture was just a picture. In the video, you see the robots are in motion. What you do not see is the line in motion. There's no indication that the line is actually moving, but that it is in configuration mode, which is still huge news. But I don't believe it's running. What I haven't seen,
and I don't think that this couldn't be the line. It could be a pilot line that would be over a higher production capacity than building them one at a time by hand.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we're talking about the line, because the line, he says, was capable of doing 50,000 vehicles in a year, or would be capable of doing 50,000 vehicles a year.
500?
50,000. The number that Elon Musk said was he was going to build 50,000. It was either 40 or 50. I've heard both quotes.
A year?
In 2024. Absolutely.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be higher than that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's
Good.
definitely there's no way the production target's 50,000 on a line.
Oh.
Not a chance.
Tell me.
Oh, it's gonna be in excess of 250 very quickly, ramping to 500. No two ways about it.
Semi-truck.
Oh no, we're talking about the Cybertruck.
Oh, we're on 2 different worlds here. I'm sorry.
No wonder. I
Did get
thought
on the
you'd
whole world?
lost your mind.
Oh.
No, the Cybertruck line.
Oh,
there's a video
Cybertruck.
that was
Oh.
released today that
Oh.
showed the Cybertruck production line, the robots working on it, and yeah, I wondered, man. I was
Where's the editing?
concerned about you.
This is where you need editing.
That's right. So the thing about the Cybertruck is that line does not appear to be moving. I have.
Okay.
No, it's stationary, and the robots don't appear to be doing anything. They just appear to be present
Gotcha.
and in motion, but not doing anything,
Right,
which tells me they're getting it configured. It's a great headline, and I'm sure his video is great. I'll check it out after this because Dylan Loomis is, in my opinion, a pretty awesome guy.
I actually think that his daily news is the best daily news you can get. It's better than my morning news. My morning news show is amazing, but it's not as good as Dylan's afternoon show.
Do you think the lithium plant? I don't think the lithium plant could be a stock catalyst this year. It's not going to be done. It's just getting some dirt turned over.
Yeah, no, I don't see it for 2023.
Okay.
Now the announcement of a second one, still not. It's still too boring.
Yeah. Ryan Mitchell wants to know what video shows the robots working on the line. I saw it on Twitter, but it was also shared on a Facebook group that someone shared with me on Twitter. So if you go look at people who tweeted at me, you can find it. You know what? I think I'll just pop over and see if I can find it real quick. Any other catalysts we should mention? Insurance? Could that be one?
No.
No?
Well, okay. Nobody would get this, and it should be a catalyst, if California was to agree to let Tesla use the method that they use for determining insurance, which is not only the 5th largest economy in the world, but also the #1 place where Teslas are sold in the United States by a ton. And the insurance here is expensive because they're not allowed to use their methodology of determining the price of the insurance by the quality of the driving. They're still
Gotcha.
requiring that you use demographics and da-da-da-da, et cetera, to determine the value or determine what you charge for the insurance. So if they were, California makes the decision to go with the rest of the states that are going with that other approach, yes, that should be a catalyst because it will dramatically increase the amount of insurance they sell.
So I've got the video up. I'm playing it. It's on a loop. But it is, the robots aren't moving. The vehicle isn't moving. All we can tell definitively is that it is, as my source said, on a skateboard, the kind that moves autonomously around the factory. Actually, you know what? I'm not even sure it is on a skateboard. It doesn't even look like that. You can't see any other Cybertrucks in the shot. Nothing is, the only thing moving is the cameraman.
The cameraman.
Yeah. If this is a different video than you guys have seen, please tell me. I'm going to scroll down and look real quick. Okay. Yeah. So, and also we did see some mass-produced parts that had come out that had been placed in bins that were, with QR codes on them, meaning they are designed to be moved around autonomously by the bots and whatnot in fairly substantial quantities. This looks like a door panel is my guess. We did not, however, see the steel come in, and I'm very curious to see what the steel will look like when it is sitting on trucks, because I imagine it is very large. I'm not sure how you unroll giant rolls of steel of that thickness without distortion, but it appears they've somehow figured it out.
Yeah. Okay, so by the way, the one thing we didn't talk about in terms of getting to 400 is a couple of people mentioned possible risks that might be out there, and I would call it the general risk category. In other words, a negative surprise could keep it from happening. So you could have everything we just talked about. You could have the market doing well. You could have Cybertruck rollout fantastic. You could have, the number of cars being sold, all those things doing really, really well, but have some kind of big influence come in unexpectedly. Things like Elon decide to sell a bunch of stock, something like that.
Or a widespread serious recall, like
of some kind.
GM has faced and many others.
Right. So some kind of a big negative could keep us from getting there. And it could be in the macro, it could be in the micro, it could be in Tesla, but that's always something to be concerned about. You never know when those black swan events might occur.
The other thing I think we're going to see when Cybertruck rolls out is an exceptionally high take rate. The number of reservations that convert into purchases is going to be through the roof, because I believe everyone who has a reservation will keep the reservation, even if just to rent it out on Turo, to flip it.
Or flip it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Faye says, OMG, you are all hilarious today. I assume they mean the comments because I'm off my game.
No, actually, what they were talking about was when you were talking about Cybertruck and I was talking about semi-truck.
Oh, that was pretty funny, though.
That was a comedy show in itself.
We both thought the other was crazy.
Yes.
And we were right, just for the wrong reasons.
As usual. My wife says that's me all the time. Yeah.
Randy is now fixated on Hawaiian shirts.
This is a second, it's a rebirth. At one point, years ago, I had 40 beautiful, hand-picked, one at a time, Hawaiian shirts. And then I went off of them for reasons that will not be told. And I've decided to redo my collection. Keep watching. It's going to be amazing.
I think it will.
This is retro. This is retro Hawaii.
No, someone in the comments pointed out that's actually Tom Selleck's shirt.
That's what I said. It's retro. I didn't.
Well, yeah.
That retro. I mean, Tom Selleck. I know we're old, but Tom Selleck is retro, man.
That's fair. Oh, that show did not age well.
It didn't. I haven't looked at old ones. Is it not that? No.
I was on a kick during a lockdown watching all kinds of stuff from my childhood. And the only one that really aged well, I mean, I enjoyed some episodes of Fall Guy. Anybody in the comments remember Fall Guy with Lee Majors?
Yeah.
Was Columbo. I can't get enough of it. It's
Really?
still wonderful.
Interesting.
I still watch it. It's great.
Interesting.
Yeah. So get the last minute comments in, guys, because we are winding down. I do need a favor from you, though. I need you to go over and check out Randy Kirk's channel on YouTube. And if you don't subscribe, he's going to keep wearing Hawaiian shirts. So I need you to do that. And we're both on Patreon. So if you haven't, because the Patreon is why I'm able to do things like the big Michigan trip where I got to meet insiders, where I got to meet the engineer at Ford who did the thermal management system on the Mach-E. And I got to introduce him to some people that even he didn't expect. So that was pretty awesome. And yeah, I got some real insights.
And the reason that I was able to go to Kauai for 3 weeks is because of Patreon.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's what you want to admit.
Is that not going to help?
Yeah, I don't think it will. Oh,
Actually, that's my Social Security. I get to go to Hawaii.
So who is this said they had TVs back then? No, we just had our neighbors tell us the story. Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
Paul said no. We drew on the caves on the walls. And let's see. EC makes me feel very old and says, "What's a Columbo?"
A Columbo. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
who is this? Wants to know if I'm going live tonight, and I don't know. You can tell me if I should, but I don't know. The problem with my show is it's just on too late. 7:00 Pacific is just so late. And Ryan says, I am only subscribed because of the Hawaiian shirts.
There you go, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, so I think that's all we've got for today. I'm very happy with this, and we will definitely do this again.
Yeah. Is there time for a poll? Probably not. But
Oh, no, absolutely. So real quick, why don't we finish this? We did poll where will Tesla close on the 22nd. Under $200, 2%. 200 to 300, 14%. 3 to 400, 55%. And over 400, 29%.
All right. I like it. Hey, this is an
Not too
enthusiastic
bad.
crowd. Here's the other poll question. The other poll question is, how many of you know who Jack Benny is?
Ooh. We'll wait until we get 5 answers. Do you know Jack Benny or not? 5 people need to tell us yes or no before the stream can end. And I know that sounds like a threat because it is. It's just like the way Sony Pictures said, we will continue releasing Morpheus every 30 days until our demands are met. And they were serious, and the audience said, no, please.
I asked my kids. They don't know who Jack Benny is. And I'm like, how can you not know who Jack Benny is?
I meant Morbius, not Morpheus.
Yes, you did.
David Huber said, good night, Gracie. Paul Bolton said,
Gracie.
Benny Hill or Benny from Crossroads. John Bay says, more likes. Yeah, we need more likes. I don't know how many we've got. 50. We could get a couple more. Stanton says yes. Digital Blade Canada says no. No from the Netherlands. That makes sense.
Okay.
The original Johnny Carson. But who's Johnny Carson? To which EZ said, Johnny Carson, which I think is correct. And Daniel Carson said, sorry, nope. So, you...
Yeah.
And Roger Starkey says, I am Jack Benny. So I think...
How soon they forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've gone back and watched Rodney Dangerfield. Young Rodney Dangerfield.
No.
Man, he was funny.
He was
very good.
He was.
He was very good. I only knew him as a very old man.
Oh, I see. That's because, well, I don't know.
49 is what I am.
Are you 49?
Yes, sir.
I don't reveal my age, even though it's revealed in my Twitter profile. But I try to keep. I have a youthful appearance, and I don't like to shock people by telling them, that I was alive before their parents were alive.
Like the TSA agent who decided, I was at the airport and he decided, I'm going to scream at everyone because I'm new here and I think that's what we do, unaware that the whole thing is theater. The passengers have figured out this is theater. We're not really doing this. And all the agents have too. They're like, we just got to do the stupid thing. But this guy, no, because he's like, do not put your shoes in separate bins. Your shoes go in the same. Okay, listen, so the shoes have gone in the separate bins since before you were alive. So don't act like it's 3:00 in the morning. There is no need for hostility. Don't worry, you're gonna feel me up in a minute. That's a predetermined outcome. I don't know what it is, dude, but something with their machines, no matter what pants I wear, no matter what shorts I wear, no matter where I pull them up, keep them low, whatever, every time they got to backhand the nutsack. So I've just decided next time I go in, I'm going to warn them. I'm like, hey, this is going to happen. So I will just get naked for them because I am of absolute belief that there is a list of people who will get naked in the airport and they keep track of it and they will only do it to me once.
I see.
So,
there you go. All right. Yeah. I hear you.
That's my wisdom du jour.
I did learn on my last trip that Birkenstocks always trigger the, if you wear, because I am of an age where I don't have to take my shoes off anymore. And so I was walking through with my Birks still on. And the guy says, no, you have to take them off. I said, no, I'm old enough. He says, no, you have to take them off. We had this big argument because Birkenstocks always trigger it.
Very strange.
Yes.
And yeah, well, whatever. David says, you're scaring me, Brian. So what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it in the comments if you're not catching this live. If you are catching it live, awesome. Appreciate you being here. And, subscribe, like, do all the usual things. And whatever you do, stay tuned, stay juicy. And I can't wait to hear from you clever robots next time.